Welcome back to Coffee and Tea with CarrieVee. I'm CarrieVee, your biggest fan. And joining us today is a repeat offender, as he said I could call him, Mike Sackmary. And we are glad to have him back on the show. It's always fun. We always have a great time. So, Mike, tell us about you and what is lighting you up today.
Well, it's lighting me up that listening to some of your recent podcast episodes, I started thinking, what are some things that I could bring today that haven't been said? And I thought, gosh, I could talk about this new thing our company's doing, which is going to sound like I'm just here to brag, but I'm not. It's just, we're doing it because we're excited about it.
Yes.
In the past, we've had things like helping people avoid scams on your show and some, we talked a little bit about why you shouldn't necessarily put all your money in one asset before these kinds of things. But what we developed a few months ago was a pre-recorded webinar. Now, we're not pre-recorded guys and girls at our place. That's not our jam. We feel like we'd rather do lives and talk to people.
Yes.
But we did a pre-recorded so we could get message out to more people, particularly where we see interest rates going up. And we're seeing businesses failing in larger percentages than normal.
Yeah.
And the pre-recorded webinar is about 3 things that'll really help you stay in business.
That's
now, unless you're a mastermind like Coach Carrie, who already knows all this stuff, but not everybody knows all this stuff. So that's why we recorded it. And it's a lot of fun. It's only 32 minutes. It's a free recording. And what we cover in there are 3 essentials. One is, what is your product story? Your product can be a service, but what is the story behind that? Particularly from viewpoint of business analysts and investors and people that might want to support you, you got to have a good story.
Yes.
And it has to be a true story, which brings us to the second part of the webinar is, how do you do that? How do you make sure your personality or your team's personality permeates and just sifts through everything in your story?
Yeah.
Because many businesses we see get that backwards. What does my market want? What is my niche? What's my story? It's like, it's backwards. It starts with, what's my story?
Yes.
And if you have business partners, it's like, what's our story?
Absolutely.
Or is my co-founder boss likes to say, our story is we're random idiots that aren't employable in any normal company. Well, that resonates with some people. But your story, that goes into the product story. And then the third element of that is, what does your landing page look like? Now, your landing page can be anywhere. It could be a billboard if you're old school. It can be TikTok if you're newer school. There's a lot of places that landing page can be, but it's, what do people go to see? So we did a webinar to put all that together for folks, and I put it out there for free because one of my core values is, I've been given a lot by God and I want to share. He's enabled me. This may sound weird to some of you non-Christians out there, but it's okay. I'm used to being called weird. I feel like God's given me the ability to go out and work my tail off to make money.
Yeah.
It wasn't handed to me. But I also feel like a part of that is I want to help other people learn to do the same if they have the motivation to learn.
Yes.
So that's why we did the free webinar. And, the big offer for Carrie's audience, because we always have a big offer for Carrie's audience every time. If you listen to the whole 32, if you get through that 32 minutes and you send me any comment on LinkedIn you want, it could just be a simple emoji. We're going to give you an hour of free role play. Now, role play is what we use in sales. I'm not a salesperson specifically, but if you're a business owner, you are in sales anyway, whether you want to be or not. But that free hour is role play of us practicing with you. You're practicing with high-level business owners, and we'll set up a scenario where you're trying to sell them something, and you'll get some good feedback in your approach, your voice modulation, all these things. How's your product story coming across in a live phone call? So we'll do that for you if you and it can be a comment like, your webinar stinks. We don't care. We just need a comment. But yeah, and I know you're going to ask me about my superpower.
I am. So go ahead and do it.
My superpower is in analyzing businesses and figuring out which ones we want to invest in. So I built my initial company, my first company. That's why we have the freedom to do what we're doing now, which is kind of more in the mentoring and consulting space.
Yes.
Because we have this other money built up. But that's my superpower, is I can look at, and it takes a lot of work. Like anything worth doing, it's worth doing right. It's worth spending time educating yourself.
Yes.
And I can look at almost any company's books and figure out, do I want to buy into this or not? Because I'm a forensic investigator in that respect. It's a hazard of being a recovering engineer. And I dig into all the nuts and bolts, and then I start looking at the personalities of the people running the company.
Yeah.
And here's a key for a lot of you that might be thinking about trying to sell to a business. You go in the door, you talk to the gatekeeper, etc. Talk to the janitors if you can.
To the janitors.
Yeah, because everybody ignores them except you. If there's somebody out there emptying trash, if there's somebody mopping the floor, you go up and talk to them. Hey, and there's different ways to do it, and you've got to be you. But you want to find out. It's like, what's it really the vibe here? What is it like working? How do people treat you here?
Yeah.
Another big clue, if you're invited into a conference room or a cubicle to meet with somebody, as you're walking through the area, look around. How much trash is laying on people's desks? Because a well-motivated workforce will not have trashy desks. They'll clean up after themselves.
Yeah.
Because that's their space and they're trying to work. It doesn't mean they're not cluttered. Lots of people are cluttered. I'm talking trash.
Yes.
But yeah, pay attention to that. So those are things I'd say and those go into my analysis too. I love going to a business meetup or like you've been to the Maxwell. You actually spoke at one of those recently.
Yes, I did.
You go to these big conferences and I wait and see who picks up their own dang cups and crap when they get up out of those seats.
Yes.
The people leave their junk there. I'm not taking them on as clients, period. It's like, I don't need that kind of lazy attitude in my life. So that's one superpower I like to share with people.
Yeah.
Also, I have a superpower talking way too much. That's a problem.
No, no, I don't think so. I love the information. And so, no, you don't. It is a superpower. Absolutely. I just wanted to piggyback on this, people who leave their trash on tables. This was something that became very clear to me, I think on my flight to LA. Yes, it was on my flight to LA. And I was sitting next to someone, and it became apparent throughout the flight I flew to Dallas first, and from Dallas into LA, I knew immediately what company she was representing just from different products she was using, because I was familiar with those products. And so I knew the company. I also was aware of the kind of person or the kind of mentality that she possessed, because when it was time to get off the plane, when the plane is getting ready to land, they come through with that trash bag at the end. Mm-hmm. And when I know it's that final call, even if I think I have thrown everything out, I'm just checking my seat back pocket just to make sure everything is out of there. And when it was time to get off the plane, I just happened to glance over, and the amount of wrappers and garbage inside that seat back pocket of that young woman next to me was insane. And so as we were getting off the plane, I just said, "Do you want me to get your trash?" "Oh, no," she said. "That's what they're here for." And it just, the company she was representing, I know that's not their mentality. I know that. And I think they would have been appalled by that statement. I certainly was. That's what they're here for. They get paid to do this. No, they get paid to clean the plane, like sterilize everything down and wipe everything down. They're not paid to come in here and throw your trash away. And no. The same even at the Maxwell convention. Walking out of there, I would just stop by tables and start picking up trash to throw it into the trash receptacles, because there's a reason there's trash receptacles in the back of the room. It's not so that you can leave all your stuff on the table. And at one point I was standing in line to have a picture taken, and I had an empty bottle. And I said to the person next to me, "Oh, man, I was hoping there would be a trash can on the way. And I went to just kind of stuff it in my purse so I could find a trash can. And they said, just put it on the table. They'll come by and pick it up. That's what they're paid to do. And I was dumbfounded by that. So I get what you're saying. It gives a very clear message about the entitlement. And I don't mean to sound judgmental. We do what we're taught. And I imagine that they have seen that modeled, and so they have followed it. So I don't mean this judgmentally. I think there's a lot of room for growth.
Oh, for sure.
Certainly not perfect at all. And I'm striving to grow, but to me, picking up trash is kind of one of the basic ground level things. Clean up after yourself. Nobody is here to clean up after you.
And this is something I really hope your audience takes to heart big time.
Yeah.
When I see that other person doing that kind of thing, I ask a question. Depending on, are they male, female, older than me, younger than me, all those things you got to pay attention to. I always ask something along the lines of, how do you think that would feel if you were the person that had to come by and pick this up?
Yeah.
How would that make you feel? And here in Austin, we have a sneaky secret weapon because there's a ton of business meetups here.
Uh-huh.
But it's pretty much the same group of, when I say larger investors, I mean more serious investors are looking at investment, not quick turn. We're looking for long-term investments. So we go to these and we all know each other by sight, but we won't necessarily sit together. Mm-hmm. So we watch and see. And if I see someone leaving trash, I'll go up and say, how do you think that's going to feel? And then I'll pick it up right in front of them. And I'll do it. Well, I had a guy one day look at me and he's like, this isn't my culture. And I'm like, okay, where are you from? And this led to and we've known this guy for a while now. So if you ask the question, you can get a really positive response sometimes. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you get the other entitled snotty response. Remember my friend Dennis, he doesn't typically invest less than $100 million in anything. Mm-hmm. And we happened to be sitting together at this one meetup, and this young lady came up, and it was the same thing. It's like, she just leave all the crap laying there. We're like, oh, great. Hey, please pick up after yourself. This is how it's done here. And she said something about, people are paid to do that. Well, then she went up to give her presentation about her business. And people are looking at us. And afterwards, some of the other investors came up. Are you guys thinking about that company? And Dennis is like, no way.
Yeah.
How's she going to treat her own people inside that company? And Dennis is funny. He's like, I'm not looking to run their stupid company. I'm looking to invest in people who already know how to run something.
Yes. It's something that has come in, like smack dab in front of me a lot recently, and hearing that phrase so many times. There's people who are paid to do that. Like in a hotel, you can leave it as messy as you want. People will come in and clean up. No, they come in and change the linens or make the bed if you're not leaving yet, and they're not coming in to clean up your trash.
No.
And I don't know where that concept originated from. Where did that come from? Oh, somebody will do it for me. I don't have to do that.
I don't know. We raised our two sons with the idea of, and they were both adopted. So they were older. They were 5 and 7 when they came to us. Mm-hmm. So they'd already had a lot of training of the wrong kind. Uh-huh. We just said, I jokingly said one day, you don't get dinner until your room is picked up. Now and I had a little chart on like, this is where things go. Yeah. And they had a clutter zone where they could leave toys spread out. I mean, we're not talking military clean here. that came in high school. But when they were little, and they took me dead serious. And we never told them that they were going to get fed anyway, because of course we would not feed them. I was just telling them that to motivate them. And I mean, for the next 11 years, it's like those rooms were picked up over dinner. And I saw that in play in some of my first jobs. Yeah. Some of my first bosses were They were World War II generation guys, kind of, one foot in the grave, one on a banana peel. Those guys, smart engineers. But they had a very, if there's something out of place in this workshop or on your desk or in this lab, you're all going to catch hell over it. Every single one of you.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, man, companies kind of lost that at some point, the idea of keeping the place looking professional.
Mm-hmm. Which is so frustrating to me. I don't understand. I mean, I remember walking into a lawyer's office one time, and it was not cluttered. It was a mess, and trash cans overflowing. And I just turned around and walked out because all I could think was if this is what this space looks like, how do you present something in court? How do you even find the papers that you need?
Yeah.
How are you going to represent anybody effectively? It's a huge, it's a message. It is a message that you are sharing. And I find that when my brain is more scattered, when I've got a lot going on, or if I am like the last 2 years of my life dealing with deep depression and physical pain and not knowing what was going on inside my body, I felt like it had totally turned on me. And when all of that was going on, my desk, I didn't have trash around, but my desk would get more and more cluttered. And the more cluttered it got, the less I could focus and work. And I would have to force myself to take a minute to get it straightened up again, and then find a way to not let it get that way. Because if I'm on a call with someone and they see my surroundings, what do they think about me and my ability to coach them through a tough situation if I can't do it for myself?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that carries over in everything that you do.
Yes.
When you send a proposal out to, you're looking for a prospective job or something, how all that organized, it's all coming out of the same brain that is the brain that lets your room look the way it does.
Yes.
This is why you want things consistent. And for those of you out there that are clutter people, that's fine. There are people who are very good at organized chaos. The key word there is organized.
Yes.
And that can come through as well. I think we've all seen things in the media about, certain CEOs that have dinosaurs on their desk or whatever, and that's fine. But you notice it's not a pile of trash. It's like they have that model there.
Yes.
Fine. That you can do that, but you need to let people know that you've got it together.
Yes, exactly. Or if you don't work on these parts that are, and it can be easy. It's easy to let things start overflow, and
oh yeah,
it's very easy. But how can we think effectively? I mean, you shared in the beginning that second step of sharing your story, of getting this is what sells. It's not the product, it's why you made the product. Mm-hmm. And if your brain is just in shambles, how can you effectively share the story? How can you even get it out there? You just can't. My opinion.
It's one of the reasons we developed the role play thing inside our company was, let's talk through some of these things in real time with each other. What would it look like if the area looked like X, Y, or Z?
Yeah.
And we just started developing those muscles. So that's one way you can do it, is just find people to talk these things through. And then things become more settled in your mind. Yes.
So let's jump back to I took you off on a tangent there because
we love tangents around here.
we do. But you brought up something that is such it's been on my mind this entire year, and I've seen it in play. I've been more aware of it going on. So when you touched on that, I was like, oh my gosh, this is something that it must be the year, because this is my year to focus on this too. But I want to bring it back to this webinar, because it's a powerful webinar and sharing it. And then you said if they message you on LinkedIn
or YouTube.
LinkedIn or YouTube. Okay.
The link actually goes straight to YouTube because we didn't want to have any secondary filters on it.
Yes.
Like by filter, I mean, we didn't want it bouncing to different nodes on the web. We just wanted to go straight to the video.
Yes.
So that, yeah. And you can comment on there or LinkedIn, either one.
Okay. Awesome. So I will link your LinkedIn account in the show notes. And then the YouTube, obviously you're going there. You can comment right under that and share and then getting this free role play.
Yeah, free hour. Yes.
Amazing. Like if you're listening to this, go leave a message. Don't leave this on the table. If you're listening or watching, whichever you're doing, to get this link. If you're listening, the link is in the show notes. If you're watching, it's right in front of you. Click it and get it done. Do this. Why? Just don't leave it laying on the table. It's a free hour of role play.
I came across this investing concept many decades ago as I was starting to learn. Mm-hmm. And it actually comes from the Greek Empire. That's how old it is. Don't leave free money on the table.
I didn't know that was a Greek concept, but
I didn't either.
I had no idea.
That's how old it goes back. So folks, if you've ever done role play like we're talking about, that's free money sitting there. You've already lost deals because you didn't have those skills. I guarantee it.
Yes. Yes. And have you ever looked back, Mike, at a year and calculated how much money you left sitting on a table?
I do it every quarter. It's very sobering.
It is.
It keeps me grounded in, even though I'm really good at investing, I'm still right like 70 to 72% of the time, which puts me at the top of the class. This is the only business where C average makes you the best. It's like, but it keeps me very grounded in these are skills and abilities I need to keep working at. I can't coast. No,
you cannot. Those who coast are, they're average. And what's the definition of average? The highest degree of poor.
Yeah.
It's nothing you want. It's nothing I want anyway. I know you don't. I don't want to be average. I want to be far above. I want to be excellent. The pursuit of excellence. That was our motto when I was in high school. And it was drilled into us. Pursue excellence. That's where you want to be, the extraordinary.
And this is the motivation we want people to have in their messaging.
Yes.
If you're not truly motivated to pursue excellence, people will notice.
Yes, they will.
And that's okay. That's you. But if you are truly motivated, you need to make sure that's clear.
Absolutely.
And in our case, we had several people inside our company, all women. And this is the beauty of having a multi-gender company too. Mm-hmm. Because the differences in thought processes are fascinating. We had some of them say, you guys think you're clear. Like, yeah, okay. So that's what I tell people. Get real clear on your message.
Yeah. The law of simplicity, right? Bring it down to words. I was listening to a book recently and reading it and teaching a mastermind on it. John Maxwell's The 16 Undeniable Laws of Communication. And in the law of simplicity, he says, Steve Jobs, the thing he wanted to do the most was take something so complex and difficult and make it simple enough for an 8th grader to use. Yeah. And to make these Apple products so simple, even though they are very complex. And I'm sure they could have made them so complex that someone with a mind like yours could use. But someone with a mind like me, I'm a high I on the disc profile. I'm not figuring out anything complex. I don't care. I don't care. If I can't use it easily, that is not my skill set. I'm not doing it. And the knowledge and the wisdom of Steve Jobs in knowing that when somebody picked up an iPod, he wanted them to be able to just use it. My mother, my 85-year-old mother, checked the internet and the news every day on her iPhone. She could just do it. And she was a smart woman. I'm not trying to say she wasn't smart, but she was also, this didn't exist in her childhood. And it didn't exist in her 50s either. She got her first iPhone when she was 81 years old and she figured it out with no problem. And so listening to that chapter and hearing John Maxwell say, someone told him one time, well, your books are very simple. And he said, yes, my books are written so that 8th graders can understand them. The concepts taught within are not simple to put into play in your life. But how I teach them, yes, it is simple so that everyone can grab hold of it. And when we tell our story, it has to be that way as well. It can't be so complex that nobody can follow it. We've heard speakers like that.
Yeah. And it's like, where are they going?
Yeah. Yes.
There's the same law of simplicity. We had that in the rocket business. Now you've got a moving object, and then you have another moving object, the Earth, and you have the moon and the sun. So all these moving objects in 3 dimensions, plus time is a 4th dimension in the equation.
Yes.
This formula for navigation for your navigational computer gets really complex really fast.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're adding a 5th dimension, which is speed. Speed and time are not the same thing. They're related, but they're not the same. And the law was, if you couldn't make it elegant, the word that I like to use was elegant. If you couldn't make it elegant, if you could not write that formula on one line on a chalkboard, it was too complex a formula. So same idea.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I kind of wish you'd been my teacher when I was in high school, when we had lines and lines and lines and lines and lines of an equation up on the board. And I honestly was just like, I would walk in the room and grab out my book inside my textbook because I was lost already.
Well, I was a helper for my boys' science classes in high school. That the kids would be like, "Oh, that makes sense now." Yeah, because I'm not teaching it out of your official textbook. And I'm teaching you what actually works in real life.
Yes, and isn't that what we want?
Yes, you want to know the idea, but then how do I use it?
Yes, yes. If you present a product to me and you tell me this story that leaves my head like I can't even bring it, I can't even take any more words into my brain, I still don't know what your product's about or why I should buy it. Why should I care? Tell me a story, and in the least words you can, right? Wasn't it Abraham Lincoln's inaugural address was something like 110 words. I know I'm off on that, but it was very short.
Yeah, it's not even a full sheet of paper.
Yes. But then
I've seen it in the Lincoln Museum in Illinois. It's like in his handwriting, but it's not even the full sheet.
No, but was it William Harrison? I might have the name wrong, but his inaugural speech was 9,000 words that he delivered in the pouring rain, and then died of pneumonia. Right? I mean, there's just
poetic justice there.
I can't even imagine standing there listening to a 9,000 word inaugural address, and I'm sure it didn't have the punch that Abraham Lincoln's not even a sheet of paper handwritten address was. Like, just keep it simple. When you're sharing your story with us, keep it simple. We just why did you develop this product, and why do I need it in my life? Why do I care?
And if you can't say it simply, get some practice.
That's what it is. The best way to
practice it on real people.
Yes. Just try and say it. Go to Toastmasters.
Toastmasters is awesome.
Yeah.
Another really great place. Anytime you're at a conference, a business meetup, anywhere where there's other business people.
Yeah.
Ask permission of anyone. Doesn't matter who they are. It could, and if it's one of the servers bringing out the water cups or whatever, you ask them or ask their boss. It's like, hey, I want to run something by some of you folks. Can I take a second? Because a lot of those people are business owners yet to be made.
Yes.
Like, some of those people have a motivation to get out of that work and go do something.
Yeah.
You don't know who you're talking to.
That's right.
And just ask the questions like, hey, I want to run this thought by you. This is how I'm describing my business or my product. Give me your feedback. And you just tell them, boom.
Yes.
And don't respond. Listen to everything they say. Respond with, that's really helpful. Thank you.
Yes.
Don't make any comment on their comment.
Yep. Yes.
But yeah, I once had that happen to me. I asked somebody, and there was nobody talking to this fella. It was a big meetup, a couple hundred people. Nobody's approaching this guy. I'm like, well, there's probably a reason, but whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I walk over and start talking to him. He's the biggest investor in the room. People weren't talking to him because they were scared of him.
Oh, that
And
feeling.
he's like, you're not scared of me. And I'm like, dude, I have literally almost died 3 times. Each time God has saved my butt, which I did not deserve. I'm still here for a reason. So no, I'm not scared to talk to people. He's like, I can do business with you. He even know what I did yet.
Wow. See, it's all about the attitude.
Yeah.
It is all about the attitude. We can teach skills, but the attitude, that's something you got to work on yourself. And you have to want to learn to grow and become a better version of yourself every single day. If you're not going to bed a better person than you woke up, today wasn't your day.
Or you had really bad allergies.
Yeah, really bad allergies.
Sorry.
You can always go to bed better than you woke up. Always.
Yes, always.
Always.
And it's such a fun thing to do.
Yeah, it is.
It's like, who did I help today?
Yes.
What good thing did I do?
Yeah.
And if the answer is nothing, that's like, okay, well, I got to step it up tomorrow. I mean, don't carry that guilt in your head overnight. It's just like,
No.
I'll do better tomorrow.
I'll do better tomorrow. Listen to the nudges. I mean, when you feel that nudge, to me, it's God nudging. To you, wherever you feel that nudge is coming from, listen to those nudges. They're there for a reason. If you are in a convenience store grabbing a cup of coffee and you see someone desperately counting out change somewhere, they are trying to get something and they don't have the money, and they could be buying something for themselves or a kid. You don't know their story. The point is, you don't have to know it. Just if you feel the nudge to put a $5 bill down in front of them, then do it. Don't question it. Well, they could have spent all their money on drugs, and now you know what? It's not your place to judge. It's just your place to listen to the nudge and answer the call. That's it.
And over time, haven't you found over time that your nudge gets more finely tuned?
Yes.
Like you make fewer mistakes over time because of the habit of listening. You learn. Yes. Yeah, that's a really fascinating thing that I've seen happen in myself.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I do want to touch. Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Nope, I'm done. You go. This is your podcast, Mike.
Oh, well, every time I'm here, I know you have a lot of female listeners.
Yeah.
And that's really great. And I always want to encourage the ladies out there. And this is for me. This is 100% selfish. I don't care about the other guy. Well, I do care, but this helps me. If you hear a male say something that hits your ears in a wrong way, give them a chance first before you get mad.
What can we say?
So it's so easy. It's like pause. Males, right? You just gotta like the football.
Time out.
Pause, dude. Yeah. Pay attention to me. Okay. Do you know what I just heard you say?
That's a beautiful question.
Because what you're looking for, you're one of the people who care. I'm bragging about myself a little. I don't mean to be, but it's like, I will stop right there. And I'm like, I don't understand why you're upset. What did you hear? Explain to me. Mm-hmm. That gives me a chance to do two things. If I did something that they heard the wrong way, I can say, okay, well, I'm sorry that bothered you. I really am. That's why I asked what's going on. Also, that's not what I thought I said. So let me try to restate it. It gives me a chance to learn to communicate better.
Yes.
As a female, and I've been told this by females that do this, they feel a lot less stressed about talking to me in the future. Mm-hmm. There's not any baggage. There's not any analytical stuff going on in their psyche. It's more like, oh, I can talk to him. He does listen.
Yeah.
He doesn't necessarily always agree, but he will listen. But helping males learn this is something you ladies can do. Yeah. And it's going to make you feel better. So, hey, and you'll get the negative response guys. And those guys, you're like, you just go find a bigger guy and say, that guy's a pain in the If he comes and talks to me, stand in front of me, will you?
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I'm so glad you brought that up. It's increasing our self-awareness and standing in our power. And it is so important. And I'm glad there are people like you who will say, whoa, I made you angry. What did you hear me say?
Yeah, because I don't know.
Yeah. And it's something, I mean, that is something we can all do no matter who we're talking to. If we sense that we have offended someone, have the strength to ask them, what did you hear me say? Because I did not mean to offend you. So what was it you heard? I think that's so important. That's such a great message.
Oh, good. I'm glad. I've been spreading this message for a long time, and that's why I mention it so often. So I want this to catch fire around the world.
Yes. It's all about connecting with people. How are we communicating? You might be communicating something you really don't want to be communicating, but if you think you're doing it right and no one's calling you on it, you'll never fix it because you don't know.
How are you going to know?
How will you know? Yes.
It's a kindness to let people know.
Yes, it is.
And if any of you ladies out there are wondering how it works with guys, because guys are not as verbal in general.
Yes.
It's a lot more body language. I know real quick if another guy's getting annoyed with me by the way he's holding his head and his eyes, his shoulders. Well, but that's how, if you're wondering how that works.
That is a great message and one that is fabulous to share. I'm just looking at our time going, how does our time fly so fast?
Because I keep you on all these rabbit trails.
We're good at that.
But they circle back to the center. I engage in organized chaos. So you've had a real live example of this today.
And see, I'm a high on the disc scale. So
I do.
What? Buddy, squirrel. That's me all the time. So, all right, Mike. So we have this. I think you've answered the superpower question. You've answered how we can find you, and I'm going to link everything. So we need a journaling prompt from you.
Okay, here's my challenge for everybody. Watch the webinar.
Okay.
Even if you thought it stunk, pay attention to how many minutes in you got and make a comment. I got to this point and gave up. If you liked it, tell me what you liked. Just make some kind of comment. And then we're going to give you that hour of free role play. So your journal prompt is really simple. It's like, did I go watch this yet?
Perfect. That's a one-word answer, yes or no.
Exactly.
And it has to be yes.
Well, and most of us spend more time than that on social media anyway.
Oh, yeah.
So you could do this, people. Yep. You could do this.
Yes, you can. Put it in your ear holes and go out and take a walk with it. Even.
Plus, Carrie keeps working so hard to make me famous, and
you're already famous.
Yeah, it's really fun. Any of you out there that have something to say, man, you email Carrie, you tell her what you got going on. I highly encourage that kind of behavior.
Thank you, Mike. It is always a pleasure to have you here. It's so fun. So, just grab the link and get yourself on another call. It's always fun. And this time I'll remember to send you the link before 30 seconds before go time.
Hey, yeah, it's all good.
Hi, that's all we have to say.
The world would just be so boring without the eyes in it. We need them.
It would be. We do. We need all of us.
Yeah, we need all of us with the eyes on that disc profile, the people that really make life more fun.
Yeah, but we need our C's and S's to go, can you chill out just a little?
Yeah, I took that stupid thing 3 times when I was working for other people.
Yeah.
And I always end up almost equally balanced in all 4, which is supposed to mean you're psychotic. I emailed the people that published that disc profile, the company that has it out, and I'm like, really? You have to know in any large sample size in a population, some people are going to be more centered. Yes. There's going to be some weird outliers in the data curve.
Yes.
They're like, yeah, but that's not supposed to happen. I go, yeah, but it does. So quit telling people that we're nuts.
You're not nuts. I know this for sure. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. The link for the YouTube video will either be in the show notes or it's right in front of you if you're watching on YouTube. Leave the comment and get your hour of free role play. A fabulous, fabulous offer. Don't leave it on the table. Thank you, Mike.
Oh, wonderful to be here. Thanks for having me.
Of course.